now traditional medicine is changing, where, mainstream medicine has now evolved. So combining ancient wisdom, traditions, and modern medicine, I consult with integrative clinics, which is I'm a consultant with these clinics in working. And my belief, I wholeheartedly have a passion and belief that we should return to the gifts of nature and the quest for balance in wisdom of mind, body, and soul. So folks, tonight, I want to touch on and talk a little bit about the human superorganism, the microbiome revolution. Now, as you see on the screen there, we have a lot of, it's labeled from 1 to 8. And all these 10, and all these microbes and organisms that make up our entire human biome. Now, a biome is really what regulates our body and how it assimilates food, how it assimilates cognitive thinking, how it assimilates, as a matter of fact, how we evolve in terms of how our body lives. All right. So I'm going to play a short video. I'm not sure if it's going to, if you guys will hear the audio, but let's see.
When you're sharing the screen, remember to press the 2 little buttons to the bottom. So when you share the screen, to the bottom of the share screen, there's 2 buttons. Just make sure to press it.
Okay. Are you seeing that, Dr. Rusa?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So tell me
Integrative medicine
yeah, we
based
can hear
on
it.
quantum
We can hear
physics.
Lovely.
Quantum physics explains the nature and behavior of matter and energy on the
It's going in and out a little, I guess,
on the atomic and subatomic level. From the smallest particle, how the entire universe works. These scientific discoveries fundamentally change how we perceive our entire reality. From the fastest computers in the world to your everyday grocery store scanner, the application of quantum physics is at the leading edge of modern technology today. The language of quantum physics helps us to better understand integrative medicine. Various alternative healing modalities from both ancient and modern medical traditions become as logical, elegant, and satisfying as the interpretation of quantum physics itself. Quantum physics proposes consciousness as the fabric of reality. It is a model for a deeper understanding of the universe and consequently the art of healing. With an in-depth knowledge of the gifts of quantum physics to medicine, we are better equipped to prevent disease and promote optimal health for every human being in the world. One of the great challenges within the current model of medicine is to break free of the traditional linear ways of thinking. Doctors and medical schools continue to use Newtonian physics, perpetuating a materialistic approach to healing. Quantum University has stepped into a new paradigm, using the principles of quantum physics to explain how healing takes place. Our educated vision of achieving full potentiality for health and an expanded understanding of our reality, the field, and consciousness itself. Merging quantum physics with various modalities of integrative medicine creates solutions that address imbalances in the body, mind, and spirit to achieve optimal health. Students and graduates gain a better understanding of health and disease and how the body, mind, and subtle energies all need to be addressed for optimal healing. Quantum University brings world-class educators and leaders together to create an energy all need to be addressed for optimal healing. Quantum University brings world-class educators and leaders together to create an innovative, unique curriculum. Dr. Paul Druin, MD, founder and professor of integrative medicine, says, "My objective in creating Quantum University was to add the missing pieces of the puzzle of how healing occurs. Teaching integrative medicine based on quantum physics is our role at Quantum University, creating the future model of medicine, one student at a time. Join us."
So guys, tonight, having listened to what we just saw there, we are going to move into what really you are made up out of and why we are missing. So the quote tonight is the human superorganism and how our microbiome is revolutionizing the pursuit of a healthy life. So as you see on the slide there, it says all matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter, the miracle of life. If the head and body are to be well, you need to begin by curing the soul. And that's Plato said that centuries ago. So what I want to impress in your heart and minds today, in moving forward in wellness, we talk about Western versus Eastern medicine. And what we have seen, Western versus holistic medicine, is we take the allopathic approach, which are forced on identifying the cause of ailments by looking at the physical components of the human body, the genetics and the germs, all right? While holistic approach looks at the root cause of the individual overall physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional well-being before recommending treatment. So I want to read a little something here and to give some information as to our present situation and what is happening and ongoing in our system today. All right. What we are seeing is that we talk about a lot about the microbiome and how the microbiome regulates our entire body from birth till grave. And we are seeing information has been coming out in the medical landscape, the new medical landscape, that the present growing epidemic is deadlier and costlier than influenza, measles, Ebola combined. In fact, according to the World Health Organization, NCDs, which means non-communicable diseases known as chronic diseases, which is not passed from person to person, that is what NCD means, all right, kill almost 3 times as many people. 68% of deaths are as infectious diseases, 23% of deaths, yet NCDs tend to be a hidden epidemic. Our government organizations and academic departments in place to fight infectious diseases, but NCDs as a whole, not so much. Listen to that carefully. The efforts that do exist are usually partitioned into piecemeal programs directed at only one type of NCD, such as cancer, obesity, heart disease, autism, Alzheimer's disease, etc. And efforts to address these have lagged way behind in this epidemic that we are facing. Now, this NCD epidemic is not restricted to any one culture. Understanding socio-economic class, geographic area, etc. 3/4 of the deaths due to NCDs occur in low to middle socio-economic countries, although proportionally the rate is greater in more affluent countries where NCDs cause up to 87% of all deaths. Distressingly, the epidemic only promises to get significantly worse in the years to come. All right, but have you heard anything about this epidemic on the news? No, we are not hearing this. If this epidemic is worldwide, and listen to how simple this is, all right, then why we are not hearing it and why the silence? Okay, so what we are seeing is that if we do not start to look within ourselves and try to make our lives become more healthier by doing what we're supposed to do, we are going to degenerate to such a point where we are only pumping prescribes in our bodies and that's degenerating our organs and causing our organ functions not to be work as it should. So unlike influenza, measles, Ebola, these agents creating this epidemic is non-communicable, but you can't pass this to your family, friends, and neighbors by coughing, sneezing, or shaking hands. You can't see it spread. There is nothing to immunize against, and quarantines would be useless. So without the ability to prevent, vaccinate against, vaccines against, or cure this disease, health practitioners are usually reduced to helpless state of medically managing symptoms. In turn, this dramatically impacts personal productivity, your quality of life, socioeconomic viability, and individuals are reduced to a lifetime of drug management, which oftentimes causes a whole new layer of complications. So, aren't we getting a picture of what is really going on in our sphere of the world today? So most drugs can, and this is the new medical landscape news coming out. This is not my words, folks, tonight. Most drugs can have side effects, and as these side effects arise, they are often managed by prescriptions of yet more drugs. Our lives can become a series of alarms going off each day to remind us of the ever-increasing number of drugs we must take. Is this the life you plan for yourself? I'm asking. Is it what you want for your children to experience? The epidemic is hard to pin down, yet we are used to chasing bacteria, viruses, or pathogens as a cause of human disease. And until recently, many people were still trying to do that for NCDs such as cancer. But this is different, folks. This epidemic that we are facing involves an ecological system out of balance. All right, we have gone out of balance. Instead of being homogeneous and related to one disease or one specific pathogen, such as a virus producing the flu, this epidemic comprises a myriad of different illnesses that each target different organs in the body and involve different medical treatments. Because of this, the epidemic has been more difficult to identify as a whole, harder to spot, and more challenging to nail down. So this is what we are being faced now in this 21st century. And we are beyond premature death right now. The epidemic is taking a toll in our lives every day, okay? And we are just moving toward an increasingly invalid society. And this is out of the desk of medical doctors on the landscape talking about where we are going, all right? More and more of our children are unable to experience life as their parents knew it in long times. People, the older persons are living longer than the new generation, all right? We are facing uncertain futures as adults. And in this future, we will be able to associate with one another in ways most meaningful for human families, communities, and societies, because we are a dying set of people, I must say, a dying set of people. So what are we going to do? We are going to talk about, how our body works and what we need to revive and to bring back what is lost. Remember, ailments like autism spectrum disorders, food allergies, Alzheimer's, all of these, arthritis, asthma, cancer, heart disease, celiac disease, these are bowel disease, colon issues, diabetes 1 and 2, inflammatory bowel disease, lupus, metabolic syndrome, osteoarthritis, sarcoidosis, thyroiditis, Hashimoto's, and all of these that we are talking about. And the list can go on, from mental health to what we eat to our very bones. This is what we are faced with, and it is very frightening that it is being spread. So how can we stop this? The River of Life, Bruce Lipton, in his book, said in The Biology of Belief, it was observed that every one of our many trillion cells is an individualized, complete living organism. What that means, it means that every cell in our body do a specific thing, all right? It has its complete living organism. Just like any human being, each cell is an intelligent being that can survive on its own, and it is capable of learning and creating cellular memories. Folks, let me tell you something. When cells go out of order, go out of the normal way it's supposed to work, what happens? It adapts to its environment. So let's say the environment is toxic, cells now will start to become toxic. It will try to prevent apoptosis, which is the dying of the cells through chemical poisoning, and it can turn on itself, and that can cause degenerative diseases and issues within the body. So these cells now live in sophisticated communities called the microbiome, which we are going to speak about, okay? And these microbiome, these cells, right, your blood cells categorize themselves. They perform specialized tasks. So the red blood cell sustains life, while the white blood cells, identify intruders such as microbes, viruses, and bacteria that can be harmful to the human genome, which is your human body. All right. So as the body continues to do what it needs to do, we are now going to talk about a little on the microbiome. So what we are seeing here, we are talking about the microorganisms found within your system, all right, because they do specialized tasks. And this is where we are falling short, because our body is really dying. Our cells are not remembering its signals. In times, I think 2 weeks back, I spoke about how our cells work within the system and the DNA structuring, and it's forgetting its genetic coding. All right. So here we are talking about the genetic information in your body. All right. 99% of our genetic information is in our space, which we call you. It is from your genomes, which makes up your cellular structure. So your genes only account for 1% of what is guiding cells in and your body. So here's what. We are microbial storage. When I spoke about the DNA structure and how our body cells store things, is like, how much terabytes, 300 some terabytes we have of walking information. All right. So we are microbial storage machines designed to pass our microbes along to future generations. Can I ask a question? What we are passing to our future generations if we are degenerating and dying? Because many of us are full-blown sweet with diabetes, we are cancerous, we have arthritis, we have all this chronic inflammation in our body. So we have to start preserving and getting our system back in order. So how would we do that? The human microbiome is defined as the collection of microbes that live on and in us. Okay? You will see the term used to refer to both the microbial cells and their genes, this term that we are using. Another name given to these collections of our microbes sharing our body is called the microbiota. All right. So you're seeing on the screen here, the microbiota refers to specific microorganisms found within the specific environment. So let's say the liver has its own microbiota because those cells function specifically for the liver. All right, genomes, which is your complete set of genetic instructions. I used that word earlier on so that you can understand what it means. It has all its instructions, meaning its codes in that organism needed to build an organism, allowing it to grow and develop. So let's use the liver again. If there's a degeneration in the liver is an organ that you can just have a piece of and it can regenerate itself to be in a healthy liver. All right, unlike the lungs, when that genetic information starts to degenerate the lungs comes hard like cardboard. The lungs is the only organ in the body that cannot regenerate itself. So if that goes into degeneration, you die. All right, eventually you will die. That's just the hard case of that. So your microbiome is not just in one location of your body, but it is distributed throughout virtually every part that has some exposed to the external environment. Some of the locations include your airways, nose, bronchi, lungs, gastrointestinal tract, your mouth, throat, small intestines, large intestines, and your cecum. All right, reproductive tract and skin. Different locations of these microbiomes have different resident microbes. So hello, We are a walking body of organisms, all right? That helps regulate, helps do whatever needs to be done in our body. So you are not actually identifying what you do to your body. These microbes do what they need to do with your body. So the instruction is to keep you alive while we are killing them. All right. They are a part of you just as they were a part of your ancestors. So folks, let me say something to you. Your genetic coding is being filtered down to generations to come. All that is within you at this present moment has been around since the beginning of time, since the insemination of you, your grandfather, your great-great-grandfather. You were the genes of your great-great-great-grandfather, and so. So actually what you have within you, you're supposed to be an original, but guess what? We are being watered down at this point. Mammals devoid of microbial partners, what we say, we lack what we need to exist, let alone thrive. So in the completed view of the humans, we are each a conglomerate of thousands of different species made within us. If we are missing key species, which is on different organisms of coding our biome, all right, we will not be healthy. You will become a hybrid. Okay, and we know what hybrid is. What's a hybrid? Each one of us is a super organism. So let's try to keep our organism healthy and alive. So what I am saying to you, I'm giving you that introduction of who you really are. You are so fearfully and wonderfully made with everything that's within you to give life, to regenerate, to restore and recover. So no matter where you are at this moment, whatever chronic, whatever it is that is going on in you, we have hope and we have information tonight that is going to help you become that being that you're supposed to become, healthy in all aspects of the world. So we are microcosms of the Earth's species. So virtually we are that is encased in us, existing inside and outside. So the trees, the outside is attracted to you. We are one, and we are all and one with nature. We are all and one with our being. We are all and one with our animals. We are all and one with everything that is placed on this earth. We have organisms in our healthy bodies, such as some of these organisms are called acai, that lives in most extreme places on earth, such as deep under the ice. Hello, we have that in us, in the Antarctic lakes. So we can function and live if the place goes cold from hot, okay? Because we have these, it's just dormant within us, and it just takes the environment to activate so that we can live comfortable, all right? They can live in the deepest, harshest, coldest conditions where no sunlight reaches. So we are connected to our environment in ways that we never dream of. Can you visualize that? Can you open up your mind to knowing how super an organism you are? So what we are talking about is now there is a change in how the new biology works. So in times gone by, Master Clive talked about the Genome Project and how we came from and what they have realized that it was not so. Until now, they have found out that the new biology, we now know that is not the case, all right, from what was experienced in that human genome studies in the 70s. So our microbial genes, or what is called our second genome, all right, a genome is your complete set of genetic information. You've seen it there in case you now come in codes that the organism needs to build organisms for our bodies to grow, all right, and develop, okay? So we are microbial partners, and that's what our microbiome is. So who is in charge here? It's impact our human behavior, okay? So who is really driving this bus? Did humans acquire microbes to enable them to build a better human, or did microbes design a better human? as new and improved vessels of this generation is your microbiome. So you're not driving the bus. So here's this. We know how our species were built, okay? So what we are saying, humans without microbes are sick, and microbes without humans have no home. So what that tells us, we are living symbiotically with each other. We need each other. So without each other, we cannot live or function or survive, okay? And it is very important for us to understand where we came from so we can understand what is going on with our system and we can correct. What I'm trying to instill in your hearts and minds today is that when you understand who you are and you can actually alter, and when I use the word alter your genes, you can actually change the way in which your lifestyle is, your habits, because sedentary lifestyle has degenerated us so much that our genome is not remembering codes for a common cold. It's not remembering when we have an issue to correct. It's not remembering anything. It's just so degenerated that it needs help. And who gives it the help? You have to take note of your body, you know. A medical system cannot tell you what's going on with your body, you know. If something, your body talks to you, you know, it's just we don't listen. When you start to feel cranky and crashy and chronic and fatigued and tired, your adrenal glands is telling you, listen, you need to sit down, shut up, close your eyes and rest. If you don't do that, you would be going on dregs later down, and then you get a nervous breakdown, mental fatigue, your body keep going on in circles, you can't sit down, you're going. And I mean, you can't be an Energizer bunny. It's how the body made so that you can rest, restore, and recover. So everything that governs our body, metabolizing, wellness, making you become better from being ill, is our microbes govern that. All right. This status of our microbiome governs everything. So here's this. The gastrointestinal tract in the mouth, the large intestine, the small intestine, differs in profile of inhabiting microbes. So what that is saying, a microbiota, it refers to microorganisms found within the specific environment. So what we were taught long time, and we keep hearing, good bacteria, bad bacteria, same alkalinity, same thing in same area in the body. That is not so. That's a fallacy that we have been listening all along and thinking that is so, but it is not so. Every organ in your body has its own microbiome, its specific organisms that helps to repair it. So guess what? When that goes out of alignment or overproduction, we have problems stepping in. So if you was interested in your oral health, the status of your oral microbiome will be likely to have more direct relevance than that of your small intestines or your skin. Okay. Similarly, the mix of microbes in the mouth is widely different from those inhabiting the vagina. The microbes want to be where they have access to food and can grow and thrive. And in large part, we want them to be in their specific location. So when these microbes go out of balance, we call them, the differentiation with the microbes, and they start to overpopulate certain things. It causes diseases and damages to the system. So when it's relocated in the wrong body site, otherwise than where it's supposed to be in its friendly environment, microbes can cause problems. So let's give an example. Your gut bacteria getting into the body cavity. All right, it leaves the gut and let's say it absorbs into the epithelial lining of the stomach as such, or in the abdominal area. All right, here's what happens. It's getting to the body's cavities. The fastest ways that would happen is to induce septic shock and then death. Simple as that. Okay. So having each microbe in its own gated, as we call, community, I love that. It's how it works. It has to be in its own community so that it can do what it needs to do. So when the microbes in different body sites, it has also its ancestral history. So you are connected, interacting with your mammalian cells in these specific locations of your body. So a synergy starts to take place there where everything is shared in the system. All right. So when you hear your microbes, you hear most of it, your microbiome is made up of lactobacilli, bifidobacteria, firmicutes, bacteria deaths, at the forefront probiotic discussion. These microbes is what helps the body to regenerate, to do what it needs to do, to keep it intact, and to help the system function in the way it should function. All right. So I just want you to understand that these are what governs our body. And when anything, it's simply, when these microbiotas go out of balance, we can have a problem. So for instance, sometimes the food we eat can cause a disruption in how the system works and function. All right. It can cause degenerative issues. Sometimes you get it's not digesting as it should because the microbes are not doing what it needs to do to help the body, repair itself. So when that starts to go out of balance, guess what's happened? It affects works together with the immune system. So it affects your immune system. And your immune system works like a junkyard dog. All right. It can be your best friend, or and gives ultimate protection to your health, or it can make you sick and kill you sometimes. That's just how the body works. So that may come as a shock to you hearing it just like that. So many of us tend to think that our immune system is the only thing standing between us and certain death from infection. Well, that might be true, all right, as long as it functions properly, all right, and it is well trained. So how we are going to train it? We are going to give it back its course by eating healthy, by doing the things that is required, all right, because when it is not, it can easily kill us, all right, straight off, it can kill us. So when you start to feel things going wrong with your body, it's your immune system now talking to you. At the end result is disease, okay? And these diseases can show up in any tissue in your body at any age, all right? Why that is possible, how it is possible, all right? Well, your biology and your immunology in your immune cells are residents that stays in your tissues, virtually in your tissues in your body, which is the cell structure in your body and the tissues in the system. All right. So when anything starts to happen, there are white blood cells that come on stream called macrophages, which they come on to start working on issues that has arise in the system. And what they do, they morph, they change, right, while residing in these tissues to bring on special characteristics. So it's just, when they bring on these special characteristics, right, they start to do things like your T cells, your B cells, your white blood cells, all of these start to take shape and start to activate itself. Isn't it amazing how our body is super amazed? I really have to think about how special our body is made up. And when we start to think about that, we can actually appreciate the little sanctuary that we are living in, and we do not violate it. It becomes like a sacredness to our bodies. And people will, I don't like to say these things there, but I've seen it happen. People will spend exorbitant amounts of money on a house, on a vehicle, buy things for themselves, wash, clean, spray, shiny tires and all of that. Now, I'm not bashing those who want to do that. I'm just saying, because it's what I've been seeing. You will spend all sorts of monies on all other things. And it's the little sanctuary you have to live in to keep you to enjoy that. You're not spending money on you. You're obese. You're eating all kinds of junk and gunk, as Master Clive would say, eating your ways, your life to the grave. So now we have to dig back out and start living how we need to live. Appreciate your genetic instructions, appreciate your genomes, appreciate your microbiome, because that is what will extend your life to even make it healthier and happier. You know, we think earthly things and so forth make us happy. Yes, on one hand, but if you don't have the health, how can you enjoy it? All right. They say, you know, your health is your wealth. You don't have wealth, you get a disease, you can't even enjoy what you have, your wealth. All right. So we have to really take some note as to where we are going and what we are doing with what we are given to work with in our system. All right. So, you know, and this is what happens to our bodies. So when our system starts to go into wear and tear and repair, it's telling us something is happening with our system. And your body talks to you. It tells you what is going on. Your microbiome is your body's gatekeeper. Okay, folks? It is your gatekeeper. It stands between the microbiome and the rest of your body in the immune system. It communicates. All right, epithelial cells and linings work for you. What the epithelial cells and linings means. It's in transit, it's in and out into the tissues, into the organs in the body. It gives the gut the airways, you know, it passes the skin. The immune cells do so many wonderful things. You know, it's like a greeting party. It's like a welcome. It's like, you know, you in tune with your cells, yourself, and how your body, you know, as I say, I'm thankful that we are such a super organism, and we need to get our system back in order. So anytime things go wrong in our bodies, it talks to us. Our body talks to us. And we need to understand where our system lies. I mean, I know some of you love this triism, acceptance. When one represses emotions, one body's hurts. When you repress your consciousness, your mind aches. When you repress spirituality, your soul suffers. All right. So in a nutshell, our microbiome is what governs our entire existence. And what feeds our microbiome is nutrition, supplementation, or other herbal alternative therapies, you know, healing and prevention at the cellular level. So let's give our cells, our mitochondria, our genomes, our microbiota what it needs. All right. Is this what it needs? Prescribed meds? All of these has unwanted side effects. Are we popping a pill for every ill? All right. What we like is when we take something, it's like a plaster on a sore method. In integrative healing, you get pain before you get wellness. All right. In pharmaceutical healing, you get no pain. You just pop a pill and it subdues. So we want to deal with the root cause of the problem in our system. And what we need to get back, the microbiome in its good food. We don't apply the Hippocratic Oath, you know. Medical doctors today, all right, I will say that later down. So what I'm saying to you here, if you don't eat food for medicine, later you will be eating medicine for food. And, you know, it is not, a lot of people say, oh my gosh, it's costly to be well, and it's costly to eat healthy. Hello, try being sick. See how much money and time you will be traveling up and down to a hospital, waiting to hear what a doctor has to say, not even seeing them in a whole week, and you're there up and down. Little by little, your visitors start to get from 10, it starts to go down to 5, then it starts to go down to 2, then it starts to go down to 1, then it starts to go down to none, because sometimes your own loved one has to now face a job or to face responsibilities to pay for this. So why are we doing that? If you don't love yourself, it means that you don't love your family, because when you end up in a situation like that, who suffers? Sometimes, most times, the wife or the children never know a day, a life of working, and is dependent on the husband or whoever is the breadwinner of the house. Now we are forced to go outside there to try to make ends meet. So let's love our bodies. Let's do what we need to do. I go back to the origin where God said in Genesis 1:29, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed, to you shall be food. What it is telling us, we have to go back to our land. We have to go back to supplementation. We have to go back where we were born from. I have heard an oncologist said some time back that, listen, cancers, we have to start eating to feed our microbiome. I was like, this is what they, and that's in Trinidad, folks. I'm telling you, I had to tape it. I video clip it when she was saying it in television openly. She's been saying people has to go back to where they were born, where they were brought up, eat the food from the land, because it's associated with your microbiome. It synergistically works with your microbiome. Sometimes, and when I was a little younger, I used to hear, sometimes the older folks would say, you know what? I might be in the US, I might be different parts of the world they left to, start a life. But when they're coming back into their, time of life, their sunset, they say, I want to go back home. I want to die where I came from. What that is telling you, your microbiome is talking to you. So this is what we need to have a healthy, balanced diet, full of vitamins, minerals, fruits, vegetables, essential fatty acids, phytochemicals, all the colored foods that helps the body to regenerate and support wellness. So let's start to practice the Hippocratic Oath. Our doctors have lost their what I would say, passion in what we took up in the early. Yes, I am both clinical and integrative. So I married it too, because I can understand. Yes, you do need antibiotics if you have a serious issue or a disease in the body, to start regulating certain microbes so that it don't get out of balance. Because when it gets out of balance, you have to get it under control, or else you will die. Okay. And then when it comes under, balance, we can now integrate our natural medicine to give the food the organs it needs so that it can function on its own. All right. So he was the father of medicine. He said, let food be your medicine. All right. But our doctors today largely ignored his advice. So then we have realized this truth. And two-time Nobel Prize winner Linus Pauling of our time, and I have Lyndon here, which is, I wanted a more 20th century, first century person. And this is what Dr. Lyndon Smith said. He's a medical doctor from 1921 to 2001, past professor of clinical pediatrics, Oregon Health Science University in Portland, Oregon, said, modern drugs and vaccines has proven to be a hoax in attaining health. Folks, I didn't say it. A 21st century doctor said it. They have brought false hopes. The vaccinations are not working and they are dangerous, and we should be working with nature. Now, in essence, what he is saying, raw foods, our microbiome were made to eat raw foods. It were made to eat foods that will bring energy and life. When you put dead in, you get dead out. These foods that we are eating, I'm not bashing those who eat, I'm not telling you have to be a herbivore, all right, because there are certain proteins that you need within the body. But at the end of the day, with moderation, because it is destroying the very essence of you. So as our guy says here on the screen, we can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. So now we have to get outside of the box, start to remember, because we have gotten amnesia. Try to remember what we do. So I know it's getting close to 10 o'clock, but I'm just going to take a few minutes. So we saw the video earlier on, and what is the medicine of now time, quantum medicine, which uses scientific findings to find out frequencies of the body and so forth. These are some of the equipments that I use in my facility, and it can also, test certain frequencies and waves of the body. That is where medicine is going at. And I would really like, if there are doctors on board, and even those who are here on this session tonight, to really work with me, because you are becoming dinosaurs. Let's face it, you are just holding face. I mean, I am in the system. I have been in association with other doctors and medical practitioners. We are talking about university levels and people who are working in the field of quantum medicine. You guys need to catch up. We are still in dinosaur state, but here we have state-of-the-art technology which can work on site with you, can now tell you what is going on with your system and examine you in 5-10 minutes. So this is a blood that we looked at. The first picture here is a blood that is very toxic, is a blood that has been loaded with chemical toxicity. And this gentleman, when I checked his blood, I told him, I said, within the next 3 months, you can get a heart attack, you can get a cardiovascular issue, ischemic attack. He did not listen. He said, yes, he's doing what he has to do because, whatever was more important than his health. When he came back to me, I showed him how the supplements can work, how nutrition can work in his body. All right. Phytonutrients, phytochemicals, whole foods, different things, minerals and vitamins, how it can work in his system. He saw the change. This is the third slide after 45 minutes, in checking, because sometimes the body is so sluggish that you can't see the minerals and nutrients, and take some time to absorb. In that way, I can know how the body is responding to wellness and how fast the body is responding to where it needs to get. It's a gauge for me. Little did you know, he knew all of this. The January came and he called me and told me, I was in the hospital, I got a heart attack, but he survived. So now he's ready to be on being healthy once more. This is a condition here of another blood that we took, who just had some digestive issues. You can see all these little strokes here, looking like little crystals in the bloodstream, protein metabolizing, stomach issues and so forth, East Candida, all these little, things like breadcrumbs. Gallbladder is what is the culprit of this blood spill here. When, I treated with certain whole food nutrition and so forth. The second slide after 15 minutes, the third slide after 30 minutes, the fourth slide after 45 minutes. So now you can see why our microbiome needs what it needs, because they go in, they are in your cells. Your cells, it was govern the way nutrition is displaced within the body. So without these cultures, they no friend or foe. So anything you put into your system is going to react. This is another blood spill of a man who had a cardiac arrest. Came to me after a month of it. This is the sluggishness of the blood, was not on anything but prescribed meds. And this is where his blood was showing a first spill I took a slack buildup and so forth in the bloodstream, low oxygenation, atherosclerosis, all of this, minerals, low content, all of this is going on here. After, again, supplementation, you could see these pictures. Now, all these colors mean something, folks. These colors are just not there. Your cells just don't show you. As I say, you are a triune being. So if I go to read your cells, all these yellows and whites tell me that there's high protein levels in your body. Your kidneys creatinine, it's not filtering as it should. The darkness in the cells are toxicity, chemical poisoning, cadmium, lead, all of these in the cells, holding in the cells. These are big crystals there that is causing capillary blockage and all of that. Also, it can mean emotional upheavals, the dark reds there, the darkness in the cells, negative energies that is associated with the body. Folks, let me tell you something. Let me tell you, wicked and evil is as big in your face outside there. All right. So when these negative energies hit you, may not be you, but outside interferences can cause disruption within your cells, and it can affect your body. And it can bring about certain illnesses within your system. And when you go to the doctor say nothing wrong with you, you know, but then all of this happening to you and you're feeling sick. What that tells you, well, then it's a spiritual problem. All right. And I mean, I am plagued because I deal with it every day. So after supplementation, to tell you how beautiful and wonderfully and fearfully are you made, when you give it the right nutrition and the right nutrients, this is how the cells started to vibrate on a frequency of wellness. So you can see the cells now floating around. It's in a little glee. It's healthy. You know, it's getting its nutrition, the fourth slide. So I will work with a system on until I see a change. If I don't see a change, well, then you will leave in my office, because I need you to see how you can regenerate, reverse, recover, and restore. All right. Now, as I said, I do have a disclaimer. These quantum machines, it views the blood from a dietary and lifestyle habits. Okay. I also consult with the medical doctors if I am associated with chronic conditions like cancers and so forth. They work with me so that we can work towards a common goal. And that is what we like. That is where we have to be at in terms of taking care of a person. So when our environment becomes stable, it's what we call homeostasis. So that's what we are engineered and geared to do, so that the organisms can function on its own, the tissues and everything can regulate itself so that you do not develop degenerative diseases. Now, I'm telling you, there's no such thing as the disease in a body. But if your microbes and your microbiome do not get what it needs, do not get what it takes for the microbes to reverse inflammation and inflammatory responses, we're going to have a problem with our organs and organ functions. All right. So I just like to share with you, I always like these little quotes that says a Chinese proverb, I do not know who wrote it, but they said, a person who says it is impossible should not interrupt the person doing it. Now I've had a lot of people come to me, and a lot of people want my advice, wants my to work with them. And then they would go to their bestie friend and ask their friend, hey girl, you think I should go and see it? Now, who is the expert in all of this? I mean, sometimes I tell people, if you want to learn gems, would you go to a carpenter? If you want to learn how to do something to correct certain cells in the body, will you go to somebody who knows nothing about nothing? And these are the things that we are faced with in society today. I don't know, it happens a lot in this side of the world. I don't know, and it's like we're talking about, making money. You'll go to a broke person and ask them, hey, you think I should do this? When all he would tell you, nah, So it's the same way with health. Let's find the information. Information is outside there. It's there to empower and to enlighten. And you can always connect with me, Dr. Ruthann, and all those who brought you to this call tonight. Get back to the person who invited you to this call. If you have anything that is ongoing within the system, they can advise you. Or if they cannot, advise in a certain way, Dr. Ruthann, myself, and all those, Marvin, all those who are in the room tonight can be equally able to help you. So let's educate ourselves, reclaim back our personal responsibility for our bodies. Nobody is responsible for you except you. All right, let's take charge, make our changes. Tonight, I want to thank you for being a lovely, attentive audience. I hope something went home. And I just want to thank you, Dr. Ruthann, for graciously allowing us her platform. I mean, if you know this woman, you will travel to where this woman is, her testimony, her story. We're going to talk about her in another session, from where she's been to where she's at today. And she has been my mentor. Folks, let me tell you something. I have to say, Dr. Ruthann does everything from a wheelchair. If you think you have problems in getting up in the morning to walk 2 minutes to stretch them legs, think about Dr. Rutan. Dr. Rutan has been to hell and back, to death, to life. She has been she has been hit with everything possible that we could think is chronic and autoimmune. She's going to give her little story. I want her to shine in tonight to just talk to you from where she's been and how natural supplements has helped her. Yes, she used pharmaceutical products, but it didn't do anything near as to giving her life back the cells. Now she walks, she walks. She might need a little help, but she walks, okay? And she is a beautiful character. I know hope one day I'm going to meet her in person, and I tell her when I come in to see her, she's going to walk and meet me. So tonight, my love, Shiny, thank you so much. The floor is yours to close us.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I'm honored, humbled, shy, embarrassed. But yes, guys, listen, you know, supplements are key. Like whether you think it or not, and whether you think you're superhuman already, or whether you think you're surpassed or past the need for supplementation, you're wrong. You're wrong. And, you know, like Dr. Denise said, I have taken multiple supplements. And the reason for that is because I don't want to stay on hard drugs. I really don't. And, you know, when I was on hard drugs, yes, Mom, I'm very shy. And when I was on hard drugs, I was sluggish. I remember to the point where I started getting a jerking in my shoulder, like literally this involuntary reaction on my shoulder. And when, of course, you do your research, you heard what Dr. Denise said. She said, do your research, learn. And, you know, they always say knowledge is power. No, knowledge isn't power until it's put into action. So if you're being given something by a doctor, and there's nothing wrong, you don't get us wrong. This is not a call bashing the medical field. We need them. But when you're dealing with the long haul of your body, you definitely need supplementation. And hear me and hear me good. Supplementation has been the only thing that for me has balanced my body. In some areas, done a lot of retracement in my body, knowing whether, okay, guess what? I won't take that no more because this is reacting. Your body talks to you. You know, for those on this call who remember Dr. Franco used to tell us all the time, you are your greatest physician other than God. You know before your own doctor what's really going, because you can go to the doctor and tell them, oh, this is happening, that's happening. And you can feel the difference, especially when you're in tune to your body. And when I became, or I like to say, you know, when God swept me off my feet, I became very in tune with my body. Like I know when certain things are happening. I know when I feel like, okay, guess what? A relapse is happening. And one thing I can tell you, since I have been on real different supplementations, things that are cellular nutrition, going all the way to the cells, as Dr. Denise spoke about tonight, I literally found that I have not relapsed like how I did in the beginning. Man, in the beginning, when I first got diagnosed with neuromyelitis optica, man, guys, I kept relapsing every time I turn around. Every time I thought I was clear, I would relapse. And a relapse for me, guys, simply means that at some point I was walking, then I stopped walking. And then if I stopped walking, then it would get worse. Like everything just kept on getting worse. It would never go forward. It was as if it was never going forward. And when I truly got on different supplements, like I said, from a cellular perspective and other supplements as well, I found that one, I became stronger. I was able to actually do more from my bed. I didn't, you know, I was not in a depression in my mind, you know, because sickness isn't fun. For those that don't know, sickness isn't fun. You know, the other day I realized I had to say I had not truly walked for 8 years. I was like, what? 8 years? I said, God, we have to have a conversation. Something's going on. Okay. Okay. But, you know, guys, you're not too old to take supplements, for real, for real. And, you know your body. I know the other day I had, for instance, ulcer on my back of my heel. And so, you know, Nurse Adley, she was like, you know, she deals with wound care. She's like, Ruthann, take vitamin C, take your vitamin D. And guys, that ulcer healed really fast. Like it did not break out. It did not, you know, become toxic or you know, infected. So we need to really look at supplementation. So like Dr. Denise said, during this call for information, guys, as you can see, we're not pushing a product. And the reason why we're not pushing a product is because we want you to get back to the person that brought you this call. They will be able to guide you because they know what they've been using. They know what's best. You know, they are going to be their best representation of what products you should really have. And if they can't answer the questions, then, you know, Dr. Denise and myself and other persons on this call will be able to answer it for you. But we're here to serve and serve you as best as we can. So back over to you, Dr. Denise.
Well, guys, I just want to thank you tonight for being a wonderful audience. And if you guys have any questions, you want to just start, talk, or just say good night, we just give a 3 minutes, Dr. Rutan. Any questions in the room? I don't think I see any there, but you know, we can close off with a prayer. Dr. Rutan?
I don't see any questions, so you can close us with a prayer.
Okay. So Heavenly Father, Lord, tonight we thank you that we can come around our round table of wellness and information of health. I thank you, God, as we go forth this week. It's just the beginning of this week. May our bodies, our souls be rejuvenated and revitalized by the things that you have given to us, by our supplements, by the foods that we eat, and by even the people that surround us. Help them, Lord, to be in a more receptive, in a more wellness, in a more, you know, a way in which we can function. Father, every day I see sick people. Every day I see people suffering. You know, when time to go, they don't want to go because they were made to be well. So with this information in our hand, let us use the information that we have so that we can correct and start rejuvenating our microbiomes, that one governs our entire being. Thank you, Lord, for tonight. Thank you for Dr. Ruth, and thank you for Marvin, all those who are on this call tonight, who is in association with us, by extension, friends and family who came on. I thank you for them, bless them. And as we go forth this week, may your peace, your joy, your love be with us as always. Amen.
Amen and amen. Yes, love it. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good night, guys.
Have a great one, guys.
Good night.
Good night, good night.
Good night, all.
Good night, good night.